there's like perks.
There's perks. It's the gang. With the gang. Let's give it up for Khan. Let's go. Woo. Good stuff. Lovely seeing everyone around today.
You vlogging right now? Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one.
I like to start with saying bad bot, good bot. Now, what makes a good bot? What makes a bad bot, right? That's the whole premise of this presentation today. So over the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'm just going to be talking about evaluations for agents specifically, but specifically actually like voice agents. So yeah, if anyone's interested in building like voice agents with Vapi or like other tools, yeah, this is the presentation to be listening in for. All right, so for this case, I used Vapi to demonstrate how evals work, right from the TTS to voice pipeline. And with Vapi, it's really interesting. It has a native integration to Langfuse. So I started off using Vapi's like native testing suite. So Vapi also has a native testing suite, which I'm going to show you how that works. The importance of like testing in the first place is to know, like, does your voice agent suck, right? Is it any good? Is it serving my customer needs? Are the prompts working as they should be? That's ultimately like why you're building in evaluations. Are my customers being confused on the other line when they're talking to my agent? Is it converting? Is there moments where there's hallucinations with the prompts? Do I need to fine-tune specific prompts in the workflow, in the conversation chain? That's why evaluations are important. Prompt engineering. You know, if you have one model, one channel, like I would just use like Vapi's native like test suite. Those do the trick. It's free. It's in Vapi. It's really simple to add tests and just design like the tests like by just clicking through the test suite to make sure it's like working or not. We'll save questions for later. Let me just like run through the slides really quickly for you guys. So yeah, as I was saying, with Langfuse, there's a native integration with Vapi, so it's really simple to run tests right through Langfuse. It'll connect right away. You just put in the secret key, the public key, host URL of your Langfuse dashboard. Here is an example of me running like a small script. I'll even provide the script later if you guys are interested to just run like a bunch of like test traces right from your IDE. And then I came across something called Braintrust. Now, Braintrust is really interesting to me specifically because my software, we use multiple different models and multiple different channels from email to calling, as well as social with LLM integrations. So that's where you would want something just a little bit more hardy, and that's where Braintrust comes in. You can run tool calls as well. So for an example, we send off like payment links. So that's really interesting to us. And yeah, like we can map out like all the structured like fields and like test like prompts and set like more rigid guidelines. You can also like write from the UI. You don't need to like write up like script, for an example, or manage files. Right in Braintrust, you can like use like their synthetic call generation. So that's another reason why it's interesting. Okay, and this is, can you see my screen? Okay, this is an example of like how it looks like in Langfuse. When you generate different traces, you have like observation levels, you have the latency scores, the total cost, and the tags. So for an example, what I needed to do for this case was demonstrate if my users were getting confused based on the prompts that I had inputted and based on the models I was using. So at scale, Langfuse can tag based on like how your users were interacting with your agent, if it was a confusing call or not. And then you can always go into the metadata and see the scores. I think someone mentioned scores. Well, you can set score guidelines right in Langfuse. You just have to manage the code on your end and call your endpoint. And then, yeah, of course, in my opinion, Braintrust is the way to go if you're using multi-model, multi-channel. approach. Langfuse is great if you're, keeping it simple. You have only a couple models, and maybe like you're sticking to like 1 or 2 channels. And Vapi is just, it's the simplest and easiest way to go if you're using 1 model and really 1 channel. That's it. If you have questions, happy to answer your question. What's up, man?
Well, yeah, when you say 1 model, 1 channel, the like 1 model in an agent workflow, or 1 model you're just querying for that model directly? Like how, let's say I had an agent channel and you have different, like I reroute to a different, I reroute to a different function call, and that calls the same model.
Okay.
Is that not something that Vapi would be good for, and you would recommend something else?
For testing purposes, if you have like 1 model, let's say, but you have like multiple different like workflows with that model, then I would use Langfuse or Braintrust or a different platform. Yeah, for testing purposes. If you when I'm saying 1 model, 1 channel, I mean like 1 model, and you have a voice agent only. Test with Vapi. Like you don't need like more than that. It's fine, and you can just like, it's free, so why not, right?
Yeah, Braintrust price.
They all have like a free tier that's like really handy. I haven't had to pay for anything either yet. Yeah. God bless Silicon Valley VCs.
For now.
Yeah. What's up?
How exactly does it track the confuseness of the user?
It has sentiment analysis built in. So it does. It looks up the script, the transcript.
So does it also rate it?
Does it also rate it? Yeah, and you can set the rating guideline.
So you basically manipulate it yourself.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then based on the ratings, you can like filter, and then you can see which call logs stand out to you. You can double click into them, and then you can fine tune your prompts that way. With Braintrust, all of that is like within the UI. While for an example, in Langfuse, you have to write some script and manage some files. But yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah. What's up?
Is there A/B testing?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course, yeah. But with Langfuse, for the A/B testing, you do have to write some script, but it's relatively simple. I can provide you guys the script that I used after the presentation. I'll put it in the Discord. What's up?
Does it have like an alert for like...
I can show you the script too. I have it actually like on my video. What's up? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, does it alert you when there's regression?
Langfuse, yes, it does. It does if you set those rules up. This is the script. It's very simple. I'll send it your way. These are some of the files that you have to do. You have to install the Langfuse SDK. Yeah. And regression does happen, but again, like you have to write some code for it to determine when for it to be flagged. And then immediately with the beauty of like Langfuse or any of these tools is you can immediately switch out the model. You can also choose to switch out the prompts as well. So maybe you want to keep the same model, but you want to switch out a certain prompt. You can do that. And if you want to switch out a prompt for a certain workflow, you can do that too. With Vapi, it's interesting because you can also generate the prompt conversational nodes at initialization. So we do that ourselves at my company at Thread AI, just because we find that it's easier to manage when all the conversational nodes and the tool calling is initialized at call, and it's only like a half a second extra load up time, so it's really not noticeable by anyone. What's up?
How did you come to become known as the wolf of Bay Streets?
There's a few Bay Streets in all over the world, and I rule all of them from my basement. Yeah.
You actually look exactly like the person who would do that.
I'll take that as a compliment. So, yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned the word sentiment analysis.
Yes.
I was wondering, what sort of parameters can you use for that? Like, are they actually having a voice input and seeing frustration, or are they looking at what sentences you're saying?
Yeah, it's looking at the script, so just from the transcription.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't actually do audio analysis quite yet. You would have to do, there is a library that does that for audio analysis that you can integrate with Langfuse as well, but it's a third-party library. And it can even